The guests whispered behind their napkins as the grand chandeliers of the Royal Orchid Ballroom sparkled above. Every eye was fixed on the groom, Ethan Cross, the youngest billionaire CEO in the city, known for his cold demeanor and ruthless business tactics. But tonight, Ethan wasn't smiling. His jaw was tight, his eyes dark, and his hands clenched at his sides. He felt trapped. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. The bride walking down the aisle, her face completely hidden under a thick white veil, was not the woman he had planned to marry. Just 3 days ago, he was engaged to Vanessa, a glamorous model whose beauty filled every magazine cover. But overnight, everything changed. Vanessa left him for another man, and Ethan's family, desperate to avoid public humiliation, arranged a rushed marriage with the daughter of an old family friend, a girl named Clara Hale. He'd never met her, only heard rumors. She's plain, she's awkward, she rarely shows her face. In his mind, this marriage was a business deal, a patch to save his family's reputation. Nothing more. But as Clara reached the altar, something in her quiet posture, the way her fingers trembled as she held her bouquet, made his chest tighten with an unfamiliar emotion. Still, when the priest said, "You may now lift the veil," Ethan hesitated. Whispers filled the hall. He clenched his jaw. "Let's get this over with," he muttered under his breath. And then, he lifted it. The hall went silent. The girl before him was not ugly. She was breathtaking, but not in the way models were. Her beauty was gentle, fragile, like moonlight on calm water. But it wasn't her looks that froze him, it was her eyes. Her eyes were full of sorrow. Ethan felt as if she was holding back a lifetime of pain behind that calm, resigned smile. Later that night, in the vast, silent mansion, Ethan sat by the fireplace, lost in thought. Clara had disappeared into her room after the ceremony. No words, no expectations. He should have been relieved, but something gnawed at him. Why would a girl like her agree to this marriage? Why had she looked so broken beneath that veil? He poured himself a drink. As he did, a small photo fell out of his tuxedo pocket, something the wedding planner must have tucked in earlier. It was an old picture of Clara, sitting in a wheelchair. His chest tightened. He searched her name online. What he found shocked him. She had once been a pianist, a prodigy who'd lost everything after a car crash 2 years ago that killed both her parents and left her struggling to walk again. And then, buried in a forgotten article, he found one line that made his heart stop. She was hit by a drunk driver, later identified as Ethan Cross's fiancée, Vanessa Quinn. The glass slipped from his hand and shattered on the floor. He couldn't breathe. All this time, he thought Clara's marriage to him was arranged out of pity or convenience, but maybe, just maybe, it was something far deeper. The next morning, he found Clara in the garden, sitting on a bench, playing a soft melody on an old keyboard. Her hands trembled slightly, but the music was beautiful. "You play," he said softly. She looked up, startled. "I used to," she whispered. He hesitated, then asked, "You knew about Vanessa?" Clara's eyes fell. "Yes, my parents' lawyer told me everything. But I never wanted revenge, Ethan. When your mother asked for my help, I said yes because I thought maybe good could come out of pain." Ethan stared at her, guilt flooding his chest. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." "I know," she said gently. "And I forgave you before I even met you." Her calmness broke him more than anger ever could. Days turned into weeks. Ethan began to notice things he'd never seen before. The way Clara smiled at the staff. The way she encouraged the gardener's son to study. The way she took leftovers from the mansion and personally delivered them to the homeless shelter at night. And slowly, without realizing it, Ethan began to change. He found himself following her to the shelter, listening to her play piano for the children. He began to smile again. And one night, after she finished a haunting melody, he said quietly, "Clara, I don't deserve you. But if you let me, I'd like to spend the rest of my life trying to." Tears filled her eyes. She didn't speak, but her trembling hand reached for his. That was the moment the cold CEO finally learned what love truly meant. Months later, at a charity gala, Ethan stood before hundreds of people, introducing the new project of the Cross Foundation, the Hale Center for Music and Healing, built in honor of Clara's parents. As the applause filled the hall, Clara walked up beside him, radiant, graceful, walking without her cane. When the lights dimmed, Ethan turned to her and whispered, "Remember the day I lifted your veil?" She smiled. "How could I forget?" He leaned close, his voice tender. That was the day you lifted mine too, the one over my heart. The audience erupted in applause as the camera flashed. Headphone narrator's closing line. Sometimes, life takes away everything we think we need, only to give us the one thing we never knew our heart was missing. Forgiveness, kindness, and love that heals deeper than any scar. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe for more emotional stories that remind us, good people still exist. Heart.